Okay, I know I'm late to the party when it comes to the Air Neo stuff, but when this news came out, I was with my family for the holiday, then the week later I got my wisdom tooth removed, and I couldn't speak since my face was all puffed up. Next, I had to get them restitched because it got infected, and finally, when I got better, I had to take over some shifts at work because my coworker got injured. They're okay now. So yeah, I'm sorry about the delay. I'll try to make this quick since it's been covered already. I wanted to make this video because there are a few things I want to talk about. One of them involves me because this caught me by surprise. The prediction I presented was not only the closest one, but it also appeared in Ruxin's video. To give a quick recap, the theory I presented was that Air Neos is our version of Kadabra, and someone had problems with it when it came to the TCG. 2 weeks before the truth came out, Ruxin included my video in a list of theories people had, and I didn't know or believe it at first until a friend on Discord told me about it, and I couldn't tell you how shocked I was at the time. Some might say I'm overblowing this, but for me, I feel honored that a big YouTuber like him took notice of me. I feel like Kobe in episode 3 of One Piece when the Navy accepted his request to join, so thank you Ruxin for including me into your video. So, as I mentioned before, it turns out the theory I presented is the closest one. Air Neos is our version of Kadabra. Not exactly, but similar. What happened was that Greg from Beyond Comics had problems with Air Neos when he saw it in a Strike of Neos commercial back in 2007, since it looks similar to his character Rave Dactyl. Now, was my evidence in my last video good? No, it wasn't. I do want to speak on that for a quick sec. I'm not here to argue, I just wanted to explain my thought process back in 2022. One thing that Ruxin brought up was the evidence I used on how Air Neos didn't get a reprint in Legendary Collection GX since the Samurai Assault Special Edition included a pack of Strike of Neos. And I was aware of this product, but I didn't count it as a reprint. I know that sounds weird, but let me explain. Back then, I considered a quote-unquote reprint as being able to get a card without having to buy the original set that it came in. For example, you can get Molcharmi Thuolos without having to buy Rage the Abyss, or back in 2011, you could get both Grand Neos or Glow Neos, who also debuted in Strike of Neos, in Legendary Collection GX instead of the Samurai Assault Special Edition. I didn't know that putting an old pack in a set like Samurai Assault counted as a reprint, but I know now, so yeah. That was my thought process back in 2022. I just wanted to touch on that because it was a good point that Ruxin brought up that I didn't explain in my original video. Anyways, getting back on track, I'm not going to go over the entire court case as Ruxin and MBT already did that, and Ruxin interviewed Greg himself, so I highly recommend you check out their videos, as well as Greg's own video on the matter. I'll link them all in the description. Also, thank you to those who found this court case. You guys made history with this finding. In this video, I'm just going to give my own thoughts based on what I read from the court documents and from the videos that I've watched. Let me make this clear, I'm no legal expert, so my understanding could be wrong. I'm just going off what I think based on everything that was presented in this court case as well as all the videos that were shown. So let's get into this. Overall, I understand why Greg had to sue Konami. He did to protect the copyright of his character. The amount of money he asked for does seem like a lot, but this was the only way for him to protect his character's copyright as well as get a lawyer involved. I have nothing against him or anything, I get where he's coming from. To me, I think this is an unfortunate coincidence that these two ended up having a similar design, and before someone says Konami 100% copied Greg's design, based on the court documents, it doesn't seem like he was fully able to prove that, even with the New York event thing. It wasn't substantial enough to prove that Konami copied his design. I'm not saying this to defend Konami or attack Greg, I'm just saying this based on what I understood from the court documents. Side note, I didn't expect the artist of Air Neos to be GX's director, Hatsuki Sujui. I don't know if I said that right, please forgive me, but I'm glad it debunks that weird theory that Takahashi designed Air Neos. I just didn't believe that at all. But yeah, overall, I just think that these two having a similar design was just an unfortunate coincidence. It's sad that it turned out this way, but it is what it is. Now that I've given my thoughts on the court case, one more thing I want to talk about is what happens now with Air Neos. Well, I think there are two possibilities. First, Greg himself said he's down to work something out with Konami. I don't know what kind of agreement they would come to, but this can be a huge opportunity for them as they are aware how popular Air Neos has become because of this mystery. And I can see this as a huge win for every party involved. Konami gets to reprint Air Neos and make money off of it. Greg gets whatever he wants, and we get to have Air Neos back in the card pool. However, there is a second possibility, and I haven't seen too many people talk about this, and I'm not saying this because I want to, I'm just saying this as something to keep in mind. Just trying to be objective here, since I think we should consider this possibility, and that even with this mystery being solved, that doesn't mean Air Neos will get a reprint. Even though Greg himself said he's willing to work something out with Konami, that doesn't mean they want to. This was brought up by different people. One of them is Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything and a few people on Reddit, and I kinda have to agree with them. If Konami and Greg do work on some agreement, it might show other independent artists that they can sue Konami and force them into an agreement, leading to pointless litigation, and that's probably something Konami wants to avoid. It has been shown in the past that individuals will go after multi-million-dollar companies just to get a big payday, and most companies, including Konami, want to avoid that, except for a few like Nintendo, because I don't know what their problem is. I know it sounds like I'm defending a multi-billion-dollar company, but I'm just saying that most companies want to avoid pointless litigation regardless of how much money they have. That's just from what I've seen in most cases. Now, I know some people might say, good, this company deserves it for never crediting their artists and such, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they don't want to deal with pointless litigation. Regardless of how you feel, based on what I've seen, this company on the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things don't pursue that many lawsuits, probably because it's not worth it in most cases. And before someone says Dueling Network, that was not Konami, that was NAS, a completely different company who did it on their own accords. Again, I'm not saying this because I want to, nor am I saying this to defend them, but just keep in mind if in 5 years or so and we still don't have an Air Neos reprint, then it shows that Konami doesn't want to deal with any more litigation from this card or any other potential ones in the future. To them, it's not worth it, and that's probably the decision they made after this lawsuit. Just because this mystery was solved, that doesn't mean things will change for Air Neos. We might have to accept the fact that he's gone forever. I could be wrong with this, but again, I'd recommend just keeping this possibility in mind. I don't want people getting their hopes up for nothing. I know this video might be a bit messy and didn't end on a happy note. I kind of threw this together quickly because I just wanted to give my thoughts on all of this, but I'm glad we got our answers to why Air Neos has been absent. It sucks that this happened, but we at least got an interesting piece of Yu-Gi-Oh lore. We'll see what happens in the future for this card, but overall, that's my thoughts on this subject. Again, I'm sorry for the delay and the mess of this video, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Thank you again for Ruxin for shouting me out, and to all you watching, I hope you have a good day. See ya.